What's up guys, Wallen Customs here, and today we're going to take a look at the Total Heroes Mr. Freeze action figure. Now I normally don't collect Total Hero figures, but this guy looks really cool and I had to pick him up. Take a look at the back right here. Nice little bio in the picture. I want to freeze that. Alright, let's open him up. Alright guys, so here is Mr. Freeze out of the box. Now like I said before, I normally don't collect Total Heroes action figures. However, I think this is a huge exception because when you think about Mr. Freeze, he's kind of far-fetched, pretty fictional character, and I like to collect more realistic or more detailed action figures. However, like I said before, you know, with him being a cold person or having a huge body of armor, I really think that this one is pretty passable in my opinion for any kind of line, like more realistic or cartoonish, and I think it's pretty good looking. So let's take a look at it up close. Looks pretty nice. I did my research and it looks like they reused the cyborg body from Total Heroes, and I think they did a pretty good job on that, hiding that pretty much with the standard paint job, but it's a pretty good paint job also. And they also changed the top of the head and added a helmet, which is pretty nice. And I do like the paint job also. You know, it's pretty plain, but they did a great job, and it has a nice pearl blue to it. It just isn't a flat blue. You can see in the chest right there, which is pretty nice. So it gives off a nice little shine. Here's the back. Pretty nice. And one thing that's really cool about this action figure is that the helmet is removable. Let's take a look at that. Just like that, it clips on and clips off, and you can move the head around left and right, which is an awesome option to have. So you can move his head around like that, clip it back on pretty easily, and you could actually get him nice poses like that, which is pretty cool. Getting to his blaster really quickly, I like how it looks. It's not too big, but it's not too small. It's a nice sized handgun for him. There isn't a lot of color on it, but I don't think there's a lot of color you want to put on this gun. Maybe some red and blue on the switches here, but that's about it. You know, Mr. Freeze's gun isn't that colorful to begin with, but definitely has a nice sculpt to this. I like the pipes over here also. Nice big barrel, which is pretty nice. And what's cool about this also is that there's a peg right here, so you could actually stick it on his back to hold it, which is a pretty cool option, and you can actually get some cool looks out of that too, like that. Getting into articulation really quickly, we're going to pop up the helmet. His head's on a swivel, goes left and right, does not go up and down at all. His shoulder pads go up and down as well, like right there. He has the shoulder joints that are on a hinge and rotate, so they go up, down, in and out. There is no bicep swivel, however, his elbows do go up, down, and they also rotate left and right, which is pretty nice. There is no ab crunch, but he does have a waist swivel, which is pretty nice. Getting to his hips, he had a T-jointed hip, so they go forward, don't go back that much, but they go in and out. There is no thigh swivel over here or at the knee, so that kind of sucks, but his knees do bend one point right there, and he also has a hinge at the ankle. So he doesn't have the greatest articulation, but I kind of expected that from these Total Heroes action figures. But in my opinion, for Mr. Freeze himself, I do think it's enough, because when you think about him, he's just a really big guy who doesn't move around that much because of his bulky armor, and he just pretty much plots forward, lifts his arm up, and bam, shoots. So in my opinion, I think the articulation is okay for this figure because he has such bulky armor. I forgot to mention his wrists do have articulation. They swivel on both of them, left and right. One is a fist, and one is also a open hand to hold his blaster. If I had any gripes about this action figure, I do wish that the arms went into the body a little bit more. There is a decent gap right here, so sometimes you just want to fold in the forearm just a little bit so you can hide that. Not a big deal, but I thought I'll bring that up. Now, if I didn't say it before, I'm going to say it again. I love this body sculpt for Mr. Freeze. He's big, he's huge, tall, and really imposing and intimidating looking. The body sculpt, I think the armor looks really good. I know there used to be a 6-inch scale DC Superheroes Mr. Freeze, but I was never a fan of that. Too small. The articulation or sculpting didn't look that great in my opinion. I think this one's a lot better. Like I said before, he might be a little bit cartoonish looking, but I think with his unique look, it could pass for either realistic or also cartoonish. If you want to make it a little bit better, maybe a nice wash on it, maybe some dry brushing would do it some more justice, but I think it looks pretty good by itself the way it is right now. Size comparisons, here is Mr. Freeze to some of the other figures from different lines and Batman figures. Like I said before, I think he fits in pretty well with these figures, even though they're more realistic looking and he's more cartoonish. With the unique body sculpt and how Mr. Freeze is supposed to look, I think it fits in pretty well. He is a little bit taller, which I think is pretty accurate and more appropriate because he's a big guy in a big suit of armor. If this was a size comparison with the other Total Heroes action figures, he'd probably be about the same size, which I don't think is that great. But with these guys specifically, I think it looks really good. And that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching. Like always, comment, criticize, subscribe, do whatever you want to pay attention. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Go to wildandcustoms.com. If you liked the video, give a thumbs up and peace.